Hello, Substack. Welcome to Midweek Mindset with Emily and Aneta. Today we want to kind of do a mid-year check-in with you guys, reflecting on, you know, what we've accomplished, what you've accomplished, and just hold space for everything the first half of the year has brought us. So, welcome and feel free to jump in because I know that Substack is a place where we're all super creative. So, jump in anytime you feel like it. Aneta, why don't you take us off today? Because you had like a really big physical transition.
Yeah, so happy Wednesday, guys. I'm just so grateful that you guys are here with us. Like I think Emily and I just really want to come to you guys and talk about the perspective of yes, we're 6 months into the year already, but that also means we have another 6 months to get done what we need to and accomplish what we want. And I think it's so easy because, like, in January, we'll set ourselves some goals and we beat ourselves up by February because we don't have them done. But the reality is that you don't need to have everything figured out overnight. You don't need to have everything figured out from January to February. As long as you continue to stay consistent at your goals, you'll eventually get there. And if you fall off track, that's okay. Just get back up and keep moving forward. And, it's, you really got me just reflecting on like where I was 6 months ago. And it's like something that, like, I still get emotional thinking about it. Like, it's nothing bad. It's just like, I mean, 6 months ago, I was living in Mexico and I loved it. I loved every single thing about it. And then an opportunity came up and I felt like moving to the States would be better for like the work opportunity. So I took it and it's been such an emotional roller coaster for me that I've been learning to just acknowledge my feelings and acknowledge my emotions and know that, yes, it's okay. But at the end of the day, I'm not doing anything wrong because I would rather let them out instead of build them up. Because when you have a breakdown, a breakthrough will come, but you have to be willing to accept the fact that you do have emotions and they're valid. So for me, it's been a lot of regulating my emotions and knowing that I'm not doing anything wrong and I'm a human, so it's normal to feel emotions.
Absolutely. That's so valid. And I feel like emotionally, sometimes, life happens in our day to day life and these big changes. And sometimes it takes a while for our emotions to catch up to us. So I love that you're like embracing the waves that they're coming in, um, because there's so much to learn from them. Um, yeah, when I think about like 6 months ago versus now, it's like in January, I had like a whole to do list for the year, like goals and kind of like a blueprint for what I wanted the year to look like. And it's July now, and that list is like done. I'm doing the last thing I had written at the end of this week, which is so crazy. Um, but again, it's just the beginning of something else as well. So,
Absolutely. And it's like really acknowledging how far you've come because it's so easy for us to beat ourselves up for not being exactly where we want to be. But the reality is maybe we're living in what we once prayed for right now. And we're hard on ourselves because we're always setting the bar higher. So instead of being hard on ourselves because we're always setting the bar higher, let's give ourselves the grace that I used to pray about being in this position once upon a time. And now I'm here and I'm thankful, but what can I do moving forward instead of saying, oh, I'm not there yet, or I didn't do this yet. No, give yourself the grace because you're human, you're not a robot. Even robots make mistakes, but you're a human, so it's totally normal to take things one day at a time and to not be so hard on ourselves.
Absolutely. When you were saying that, it reminded me of a meditation or a journaling workshop that I was doing in Healing Hearts Hub the other day. And we were talking about, you know, setting it down and taking a break and really feeling all of the accomplishment. And I made my like monthly mantra. I think it was I am accepting the invitations I once prayed for. So it's so crazy that you just said it like exactly that way.
Yeah, and maybe it's not so much of working because you've planted this, if you've planted the seeds and you've done the work to get you where you want to be, maybe your next assignment is to be open to receive it. Maybe that's what your next challenge is learning to receive because we're so used to being the givers. We're so used to giving to other people, but maybe it's our time to say, I've done the work. I'm going to continue to do it. But as the rewards and the fruits come in, I'm going to accept it.
Yeah. And I think that is like I like to call them phases, like phases of the
Mhm,
journey. And that's like a whole new phase, it feels like. And, last week I took a rest week, like a hard
mhm.
reset. I didn't write anything new. Like I journaled and did like my normal stuff. But I really didn't, come and do too much online. I said no to like everything. It was great. But I think it really helped me connect with that essence of, okay, the hardest work is done. Like, let me bask in it now.
Absolutely. It's like when you plant a seed at like a fruit tree, that seed is going to work behind the scenes and it's going to work as you nourish it, as you water it, and it gets the proper sunlight. And then when it's time for the fruit to bloom and it's ready and ripe for harvest, then you go receive it. And I think that's a lot of times we may not feel like we're worthy of receiving because it's something new, but we need to let go of those limiting beliefs and know that we are worthy of receiving. We are worthy of reaping the rewards of what we've been working hard for. I don't know why it's ever become a mentality of I'm not worthy. Of course you're worthy. Of course you're worthy of everything that you've been working hard for. You weren't working hard for nothing. So instead of questioning if you're worthy of it, go go reap the harvest because you worked hard for it. So just be open to receive. And that's something that I've also been working on myself as well. It's like, especially with moving. As much as I loved it over there, I enjoyed every moment. But that's also I wanna encourage is, like, enjoy every moment of the journey, whether it's hard, whether it's good, whether it's confusing, whether you feel lost or you don't. Enjoy every single moment because one day you're gonna look back and you'll be like, "Remember when I did that?" Or, "Remember when I felt like that?" But you really were in that present moment and you enjoyed it. And that just makes the process and the journey more fulfilling, is when you enjoy every moment.
Yeah, that's so true. I remember like one of my biggest frustrations when it comes to like showing up online. Um where's my train of thought, Aneta? Why do I always do this?
Mhm.
What were you just saying?
I kinda just forgot already too.
Oh my gosh. Um
It's okay.
okay. It'll come back to me.
Coffee is still digesting.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys want to hop in the chat and let us know what was your biggest accomplishment in the first 6 months of the year?
Yeah, we
That would be
wanna hear
fun.
from you guys. Hi, Jill. Hi, Maddie. Hi, Alan, Nika. We're so thankful that you guys are here. If you guys have any questions, please let us know. We're open books and we love to talk about these things and we love to support one another on our growth journey because we're all on such a unique journey of growth that it's best when you have a community. So thanks for being here. And if you have questions, drop them down below.
Yeah, it can be, I remember what I was gonna say. So, like, learning new platforms is, like, the bane of my existence. So I remember all the days where I was, like, learning this system or that or another or building websites, and I would get so frustrated, but my mantra was, "I can do hard things." And, just daily, just chipping away and learning little by little, it got done. So, you know, I read this quote the other day that talked about like a guardian at the gate of our minds to like watch over our thoughts and to be mindful because sometimes when we're in that creative, motivation, it can turn into a loop of like, I'm not there yet, I'm not there yet, I'm not there yet. Um, But when we break it down and really affirm to ourselves that I can do this and I will get there, it takes the consistency, but it happens.
It takes the consistency, but it's like also just removing those limiting beliefs. Because I think a lot of times as we get older, we might think, oh, we need to learn this, we need to learn that. But the reality is no, you need to unlearn a lot of things. You need to unlearn a lot of limiting beliefs. Like, for example, I thought for the longest time when I was in my last relationship, I felt like I deserved to suffer the way that I did because I wasn't getting the attention that I needed. My emotions were completely neglected, and I just felt like I was left to survive in that relationship. And it got to the point where he made me feel like I deserved to suffer in those emotions and those situations. And when I left the relationship, I had to just learn to let go of those limiting beliefs. I mean, this might sound crazy, but I mean, somebody would hold the door for me and I would start crying because I wasn't used to that kind of that someone being nice to me from that end. So it's just really learning that, yeah, like I've been nice, I've been kind, in situations and people that were not kind to me, and it will come back. But when it comes back, I have to be open to receive it. So when somebody opens the door for me, I have to be open to receive that and let them. Because people won't do offer help if they don't want to offer help. If somebody says, "Let me know if you need anything," it's because they genuinely mean it. But if they don't say it, then they don't wanna help. So if somebody offers help, why not take it if you want?
Yeah, for sure. What are you doing to embrace worthiness in this season? Because I feel like that's a theme that a lot of us are trying to
I'm sorry, it, like, kinda cut out. Can you repeat your question?
Yeah, I asked what is working for you in regard to stepping into your worthiness and really, embodying that?
Really just honoring my emotions and honoring myself. For example, like, if I feel like I'm gonna cry, I'm just gonna do it. Like, I have no shame in that, and it's really finding comfort with myself. Because if I can't find comfort with myself, how am I ever gonna find it with somebody else? If I can't be happy with who I am, how can I do it with somebody else? So really just enjoying my presence and enjoying that present moment. Like when I make coffee in the morning, I I just focus on making the coffee. If I'm taking out the trash, I focus on taking out the trash and just enjoying that. Maybe it's not the most fun thing to do or the dishes, but I try to do everything with intention so I truly enjoy it, and that way it doesn't seem like a chore. Because when things around the house start to feel like a chore, I no longer wanna do it. So really living out with intention and enjoying that present moment. Like we've all heard, when you work, when you play. And you've all seen that one remote worker on Instagram, like, as a reel where it's like, they're on a boat, and then someone's like, "Your boss just called." He's like, "Tell him 1 second," and then they run to their laptop, and they're, like, pinging in a message, and then they go jump in the lake again, like, no, like, when we work, and when we play, so live in that
Mm.
moment.
Yeah, that's really good perspective. I really enjoy that, especially when it comes to finding the balance between.
Yeah. Yeah, balance is a huge one as well because I mean, I used to be so, like, ADHD, like, it's kinda insane just thinking about it, but, like, I would try to do everything at once. I would try to be on the phone with somebody, I would try to do the dishes, I would try to cook, and I would try to do laundry all at the same time. I'm, like, running over here, running over there. Well, maybe I'll just clean my shower while I'm at it. Like, what else can I add to my list? And I was just constantly running in circles and not getting things done, so I had to really learn to focus on one task at a time until it's completed. Like, you can't how many times have you ever played a video game and you wanted to get to level 30, but you couldn't get to level 30 until you got past 1 through 29? That's the same thing with life. You cannot get to level 2 if you don't master level 1. You can't do level 3 until you master level 2. So focus on completing one task at a time and fully embrace yourself in it before you move on to the next.
Yeah, I think incorporating like mindfulness and really intentionally focusing on, the task at hand has really been helping me as well because you kind of sink into the joy of doing it and like what it really means. So like even like you were saying doing the dishes or doing laundry, it's like there's meaning behind that. Like I have a family that I have to like cook for and that, you know, if I didn't, I'd be lonely. So, you know.
Well, it's like also changing that mindset shift of I have to I get to. Like you get to do the dishes. Like you get to do the laundry. You get to do the laundry because now you get to have clean clothes. You get to clean the floor because, well, now you have clean floors and it smells better in the house. You get to brush your teeth because now your teeth are clean and you feel better. So it's really that little mindset shift because instead of saying, "I have to go to work," you get to go to work. Every single day when I worked at the salon, I would walk in, I'd be like, "I'm thankful I get to be here," because not everybody has a different life and everybody has different experiences, but imagine being that one person who applied for a job there was only one role available and there's 50 other applicants and yours gets chosen. So you get to go because there's 50 other people who were options, but they chose you. So you get to go. You get to serve people. And when it becomes less about you and more about the people and what you get to do to help others, that's when like the magic really happens because you're no longer living in a state of I have to, and you're no longer living in a selfish attitude. Because I mean, I lived in like I have to attitude for a while. For example, when I lived with my ex-husband, I felt like I would say I have to clean the floor because I don't wanna get yelled at. I have to do the dishes because I don't want him to bitch at me. I have to, until I left that relationship and I said, "I get to clean my house, and nobody's gonna yell at me about it, so now I get to."
Yeah, that is such a strong reframe. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Think I like journaled it earlier in the week or something, but the tricky one to incorporate. But when, like, even when I was hearing myself before. I, like, switched it in my head. So that's just another one of those things where you, like, work the muscle memory around it. And, it's why your internal monologue matters so much.
Yeah, it really does, and, like, they say actions speak louder than words, but your words create action, so it all starts with what you're telling yourself. It's all that internal dialogue that you're telling yourself because, yes, actions speak louder than words. Because actions are what you see in the physical, but what if your words are actually the seeds that nobody sees when you plant a plant? What the words are the seeds that plant the actions that will bloom. So it's really important to catch yourself. And when you're living presently and in the moment, it gives you the opportunity to be intentional about your words. For example, like if somebody comes to me and they're complaining about something, I always try to think about like, well, you don't like if somebody's complaining about someone else, I'm like, well, maybe you don't know, we don't know what that person is going through, or you don't know if they like, for example, all you know is all you know. So if you're not growing yourself, then you're not going to grow to know more or in depth about a situation. So I've always learned to just give people that grace of all you know is all you know. And when you give yourself the grace to just love people for where they're at, that's also a really big game changer as well.
Yeah, I've been, reading this book lately. It's, by Florence Scovel Shinn. It's called
Mhm.
Your Word is Your Wand, and it just talks about how, the words that we say to ourselves and out loud, shape the world around us and the way that we view all situations, because there are opportunities everywhere. But if we're constantly telling ourselves that, it's not possible, we're not going to have the eyes to see them when they present themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. So, do you have any closing thoughts?
I would recommend that book. I think that would be cool. If anybody's interested in affirmations or working on rewiring your mind, I would recommend the book Your Word is Your Wand by Florence Scovel Shinn. She kind of dabbled back in the early 1900s about spirituality and metaphysics. So she is really cool to learn from.
It's incredible. Well, I also want to let you guys know that I'd love if you guys would tune into my podcast, Nourished Inside Out. It's available on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcast. I'd love to just dive into more of these conversations of mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and all things mental health. So, my podcast, Nourished Inside Out, is available. And then my book, Blooming with Self Love, is like a 31-day positive affirmations and gratitude journaling. We're so thankful that you guys join us here every Wednesday, and we hope you have a wonderful day.
Yep. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys. We hope you're feeling refreshed. We'll see you next
Bye.
time.